I think it's a bad thing when America, even if it's Hillary Clinton's campaign, is interfered with by Russia or anyone else. I think it's a bad thing. But I have seen real attacks on American democracy. I have also seen the real victims of those attacks. And trust me, it ain't Hillary Clinton and her campaign. Do I think it merits these kind of reactions? Like from John Brennan, Donald Trump's press conference before Zelensky rises to and exceeds the thresholds of high crimes and misdemeanors. It was nothing short of treasonous, I tell you. Not only were Trump's comments imbecilic, he is wholly in the pocket of Putin. Republican patriots, where are you? Well, if anybody knows recent American history, John Brennan, not exactly a patriot. Kind of a warmonger. Kind of a liar. About drones. And about all things CIA. So I don't really want to hear from John Brennan about treason or any of that stuff. Because, as DeSalle says, John Brennan is a definition of a tool. Let's go to my friend Anderson Cooper, who, by the way, if you don't know, just saying, was an intern. He was an intern at the CIA.
You have been watching perhaps one of the most disgraceful performances by an American president at a summit in front of a Russian leader, certainly that I've ever seen. An extraordinary press conference. I'm back with CNN Global Affairs analyst Susan Glasser, CNN senior political analyst David Gergen, CNN chief international anchor Christian Amanpour. Christian, the president, given the opportunity, asked by a reporter, American reporter, who he trusted on the issue of Russian meddling, the U.S. intelligence community or Vladimir Putin, he blinked and he went to Hillary Clinton's email server, asked who was responsible. He says, I hold both countries responsible. I think we are all to blame. We have a chance to do some great things. Made no mention of Georgia, shoot down of a Malaysian plane, Crimea, Ukraine, and election interference. In fact, he went on to say all he can do is ask the question about election interference, that Vladimir Putin was very powerful in his denial of it. And the president went on to say,
I mean, I think it's very clear, folks, very clear. You would have to be totally blind if you didn't see that that Vladimir Putin has something over President Trump. There's no doubt in my mind. I've been saying that for quite some time. I have been saying that I think, even when I was at the Young Turks, I said this, I think there is a very likely chance that Mueller is going to prove that Trump and the Trump organization, pre-president, before he was president, has done billions, with a B, dollars worth of money laundering through Russia. I think Putin has damning evidence of that, and that is why Trump has talked very lovingly and kind of, as opposed to being this larger-than-life idiot around every other world leader, shrinks next to Putin. I think that's very likely. But do you know what else I think? I think President Trump has armed Nazis in Ukraine. The media doesn't want to talk about that. I don't agree with it, by the way. I think it's a bad thing that Trump did. President Trump has armed the Ukrainian rebels against Russia. Obama didn't do that. President Trump has bombed Syria now twice. Now twice. Thank you, Lawanda, for your contribution of $5. Mwah. We've bombed Syria twice. You think Russia likes that? President Trump is essentially battling Russia so that America can export more oil and Russia doesn't get to export oil. These are these are facts that the media doesn't want to put out there. I don't like anything Trump has done. I don't like arming the Ukrainian Nazis. They're fascists, the Ukrainians, opposition. I don't like bombing Syria. It just came out, by the way. Our latest rounds of bombing. The inspectors went in, they found chlorine, not sarin gas. But, This is the same media huffing and puffing today about enemy treasonous Trump and passing off this Russian hacking with no actual evidence to support it. I'm going to get to that in 1 minute. Same media that passed off with no scrutiny, no facts, that Assad just gassed his people another time. It just came out, no sarin gas was found. Did they correct it? No. So, spare me. So you got John Brennan, apoplectic. You got John McCain, apoplectic. Chuck Todd, oh my God. Chuck Todd, the sergeant of D.C. Will serious congressional Republicans still truly sit back and say nothing following this POTUS performance on the world stage, uttering what he said while standing and uplifting one of the greatest adversaries of freedom and democracy? Well, Chuck, if people want to say this is whataboutism, so be it. I never, ever heard people like Chuck Todd and all these people in the media getting hyperbolic today. I never heard them say a damn word when George W. Bush was lying us into a ground war in Iraq. Is that not a threat on democracy? You want to talk about Russian interference in the U.S. election? Well, how about we talk about Russian interference in Iran in the 1950s, which led to the Ayatollah? How about we talk about the United States now arming Saudi Arabia to produce one of the greatest genocides, not greatest, one of the largest genocides in history, other than the Holocaust, I would say, in Yemen? That's the United States arming Saudi Arabia. How about we talk about the United States trying to do coup d'etats in Cuba and Venezuela and Peru? You like my accent? If you want to say that I am perpetrating whataboutism, then I am going to say you are perpetrating and executing blinders. If I'm whataboutism, you have blinders on. So I do think, I think it's very likely Putin has something over Trump. Do I think it's likely that Trump is making decisions that are bad for America because Putin has something on him? Yeah, I think that is likely. Do I think this whole thing where Russia hacked the election and this is the greatest threat to democracy since, Pearl Harbor and 9/11, do I think that? No, I think that's an insult to people who died at Pearl Harbor and 9/11. No, I think what's actually a threat to American democracy and our existence are politicians selling out the voters they're supposed to represent in order to do the bidding of multi-billion-dollar corporate conglomerates. I think what's really, really a threat to our democracy and our very existence is politicians selling out American citizens to Nestle, selling out our water and our land to mother frackers so they can frack. That's what is putting us at risk. That's a threat to democracy. You know what I think is a threat to democracy? When you don't have same-day registration, when you have voter suppression gone run amok, and nobody cares. I mean, Greg Palast, who's a great investigative journalist, who's been, shunned and put into a corner, just like Seymour Hersh has, just like many journalists have, who speak out against the herd mentality. And I would consider myself not as good as them, but I won't join the herd mentality. Sorry. You don't have to like it, but I'm not going to just join the herd mentality. And you want to know what? If I joined the herd mentality, I'd have a lot more money to my name. If I was just like Chuck Todd and all these idiots who are giant hypocrites, who don't report the truth, who contradict themselves and twist themselves into pretzels to just regurgitate whatever the U.S. government tells them, I'd be pretty loaded right now. But I actually choose to have some integrity. Sorry. Let me read some more doozies. David Korn, lowest moment ever. Trump defends Putin and gives more credence to his denial than what U.S. intelligence and law enforcement say. He is a complete puppet. The #1 useful idiot of all time. Lenin would be proud. Tell him what you really think, David. The ghost of Benedict Arnold is smiling. The ghost of Benedict Arnold is smiling, they say. I mean, if I just surfed Twitter, I'd get even more bombastic responses. So that's what I think. I think that Trump is bowing down to Putin because I think Putin has some really incriminating, damaging information on him.